It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline. Okay, now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily with positive vibes, yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews, you never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
Joining us this week on Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington, we've got Morgan Jones, founder of Athletes to Visionaries, pro basketball player, and just a woman that is out trailblazing, making things happen for the next generation. So, Morgan, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all. Let's get into your basketball career first. So you are a former FSU basketball player and professional overseas basketball player. So when you reached your goals, take us through that transition from playing college ball to the next level playing professionally and just what you experienced.
Yeah, so, I mean, I played at Florida State, and we had a great run. We made it to the Elite Eight. It was a phenomenal experience as a student and an athlete. And, when I got done, it was like, okay, now what's next? Everyone says, okay, what's next is playing professional basketball. I'm like, okay, so let's do that. So I graduated with my degree in sports management. And from that point then, I got an agent that went ahead and positioned me in Puerto Rico. And so I played in Puerto Rico for 3 months. It was a phenomenal experience. It wasn't too far away from home, which was really nice. I'm originally from Florida, Orlando, so it was a quick flight. But it was a great experience. It was definitely difficult in the sense of how much you are managed as an athlete and a student when you're in college. And when you get to the pro level, you have so much time that you almost don't know what to do with it.
I can see that.
Yeah, definitely. And looking back, hindsight, there was probably way more productive things I could have done with my time. However, I had a great experience. We kind of how the schedule worked for us was, we didn't have anything all day. So we practiced every night at like 7 o'clock at night. You went into practice, and some of your teammates, spoke English. Some of them didn't. There was no air conditioning. You went in there. Some of your teammates were moms, so their kids were like running around on the outside of the practice court. And after the practice, we would drink sangria. Like, they were always offering me sangria. And
I love it.
I was like,
I love it.
Yeah, right? I was like, okay. I was like, I'll pass on that, but thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, so overall it was a really great experience to actually start to get paid for what you worked so long and hard on was really rewarding. And I ended up being the MVP of the All-Star game. So it was great.
Yeah. Now you mentioned a lot of different things that hit home. I know something that a lot of athletes that play overseas have to deal with, or even if you're working and your job transfers you overseas, is now packing up and having to live in a whole new environment, new culture. And it's one thing growing up in an area and going to play or just going to attend college in a different state, but to have to now live in a different country, or in your case, Puerto Rico, which is still part of the United States, but, it's still different. The culture is different, as you mentioned. Not everybody spoke English. And not to mention, like college, when everyone's within that freshman to maybe redshirt senior or grad student, age, you now are dealing with a wide age of family backgrounds. You're playing alongside parents and wives and business professionals. I'm sure people had jobs during the day with you guys practicing in the evening. So that experience of packing up and setting off somewhere new and really learning a whole new culture while you're playing the sport that you love. I mean, take me through how basketball was able to take you to different parts of the world, Puerto Rico included, on your journey.
Yeah, I mean, it was more than that, too. I mean, the place that we lived was not the most lavish, let's say that. I think I lived it was kind of like a garage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I had no windows in my room.
Whoa.
So it was, so it was
a little different from Florida State storms, I'm sure.
Yes. My high luxury apartment that I
oh,
had
my
there.
Goodness.
Definitely an adjustment. But to your point, yes, the culture was one of a kind. I think, if you get that experience to, be a professional or travel and do what you love, there's nothing like it. More and more I see as I transition out of sport is that those opportunities are so unique and they're so valuable and they should be cherished, because to be able to get paid to travel and paid to do what you love is, it's rare. And so, overall the experience was phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. That's the beauty of all the different doors that sports can open for you. And I'm sure that's something you talk about a lot when you're working with young girls as they're navigating through their careers. But you have a degree in sports management. You talk about making that we're talking about making that switch, stepping away from being a player to now being someone that's, a motivational speaker, a mentor, and a role model in a different sense. So not just for what you're doing on the court, but for your helping off the court. What motivated you to want to work to give back and be a part of and create Athletes the Visionaries?
Yeah, I mean, what really motivated me was that there was a missing element to the journey. And when I transitioned out, I had a lot of different peers, women that I had played with or that were done playing, and we all kind of talked about, like, why was no one preparing us for this transition? Like, I guess maybe it's coming, but, you don't really believe it. And, we all kind of felt victimized, if you will, by the athlete process, because when we got done, we went through a complete identity crisis, fell into depression, turned to substance abuses, things like that weren't healthy. And so we went from being stars, right, like superstars, to, like, living back at home on the couch.
Yeah.
And, instead of talking about the problem, I was like, let's go find the solution. And I just started working and reflecting back on my process and, really taking accountability for my process, while also looking to see, what could have been different? What would I have liked to see in my process that wasn't existing? And, that's really where Athletes the Visionaries started. It really just started off as a hashtag of, like, who are you beyond the game? What do you stand for beyond the game? Because when you are an athlete, you do get to that level of play where that is your job. And when I say it is your job, college athletes, it is your job. I mean, it's a business. And it becomes your identity really quick, and it's hard to see yourself beyond it. As an athlete, you're constantly being evaluated for your performance, and that is what you get used to, and that's where you start to see your value is. If you're scoring points, if you're contributing, like that's your value. And so when that leaves you, right, when that sport identity leaves you, you're kind of like, what's next? And so, again, getting to the root of that problem and saying, it would have been nice to have, more female mentors in my life, and it would have been nice to have someone to come in and really talk to me about this process and how important self-awareness is along this journey, and that, the ultimate success is truly doing something you love and you're fulfilled doing. And that doesn't necessarily mean taking the first corporate job, but that's what I wish existed. So that's what just fires me up about speaking to young girls, that, like, hey, this might not be your all-out, end game for you, but this sport can take you many places, and if you learn how to use it, you'll end up doing something you truly love.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? You mentioned how when you're done playing sports, specifically as a college athlete, when you go from being a student athlete where your whole schedule is built around your sport, practicing twice a day, lifting, running from class to practice or from breakfast to class or whatever, that is a schedule that a lot of people do not understand, because you are constantly moving. And you even mentioned how you had that big adjustment once you were playing overseas professionally. I know when I got out of playing soccer, it was kind of like, whoa, now what do I do? Like, I'm like, I can actually now exercise for fun. I could do fun workouts like yoga and, like, swimming and, like, like fun things instead of going out and trying to beat my mile score or whatever, training for fitness tests, training for lifting tests. So it is such an adjustment for athletes to go from everything being built around you, especially as for you being a basketball player, you guys went to the Elite Eight. You're one of the cream of the crop. You're one of the best sports teams at your university. My team was one of the best teams at my university. We were given the 5-star treatment, the student athletes, to now being just thrown into the real world. And that transition from college to the real world is already hard. Now it's even harder when you go from being a student athlete where your meals, your schedule, everything is kind of worked out, to now what? And we see a lot of people deal with depression, substance abuse. They don't know how to handle the rigorous schedule of training to now the rigorous schedule of nothing and adulting.
Yeah.
So in terms of athletes to Visionaries, how are you working to really help, expand from what you were as a hashtag to now going out and speaking and working with the next generation so they have a smoother transition? What kinds of things are you providing and doing?
Yeah, so we provide mentorship and really just, finding, again, those holes of what these athletes need to be able to have a vision, right? Or to be able to see beyond where they're at. And, for the high school athlete, that's different than what it is for the college athlete. And so, for me, I am a person that thrives off of interaction, and I love in-person events. I think they can be very transformative, and that was proven this past August with the first summit that we did in Orlando, Florida, with high school female athletes, their parents, and coaches. So, we do a lot, and we're working to provide more of those spaces all around the country to be able to come in and for young girls to really feel valued. I think that was something that really stuck out about the last event we did, is that when the girls came there, it was just girls. There was no boys there. And, a part of that was like, without even saying anything, they felt valued because they were like, wow, like someone really put all this together just for us, and people care about telling us this information this much. And I think, that's really the root of it, right? It's feeling supported as a woman so that you can lead with vision and you can go forward in life with an understanding that, I can be the CEO of my life. And so at this point right now, again, it's just finding and partnering with great organizations that believe in the mission, that, already have all of the women, the young women in one place where we can increase our impact.
Yeah, and that is something, when you get the opportunity to get women together of any age, girls in high school, college, whatever, and they're all about something. They're all like-minded in that they are ambitious. And now you can have conversations about things you've dealt with, things that you've overcome, things that you're doing, what you're working on. It is such an empowering feeling. So with everything you're doing, it's not just for basketball players. It's just for athletes as a whole. You've expanded beyond the basketball realm. I like that.
Yeah, it's just for the female athlete. I do believe that we are different than men. I do. I think women, there's no question we are emotionally wired. We thrive off that. We thrive off emotion, and if we don't get that, what are we doing? Our why is different. We start playing sports for a different reason than boys do. Girls start because they feel included. They feel like they belong. It's a self-esteem booster. Guys don't really care as much. They're like, look, I'm just trying to get to the league. Girls are like, I just want to be liked. I want to have friends.
Play with my friends. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think, our uniqueness needs to be, highlighted and valued.
Yes, without a doubt. Now let's talk about the growth of the game. I know I've been seeing across all sports, most recently in soccer, I've been seeing it turn a corner with the women's national team winning their second straight World Cup. I feel like the WNBA specifically this past season with the Mystics winning their first ever championship, knocking off this Connecticut Sun in a 5-game series, it just felt like it was different. The environment, the ambiance, the fans, the following. For you as a former women's player that's still involved in the game, what have you noticed from when you were playing in college and overseas to now with women's basketball as a whole and how it's growing, or even just women's sports?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think it's absolutely phenomenal, and I think there's a lot of women that are being extreme trailblazers in this space that are unapologetically saying this is who I am, which I think is contributing a lot to it. But I would say the number one thing would be social media. That has helped the women's game tremendously in them using their voice and being able to draw attention and draw fans into what they're doing by sharing their personal lives. So I think that's been a real shift in the women's game.
Yeah, and you know what? To connect that to you specifically, you talk about how Athletes for Visionaries started out as a hashtag. That's exactly it with women's sports as a whole, and you see a lot more women's empowerment messages, even like IGTV videos that go out, and different athletes, Megan Rapinoe for soccer, different people, whatever, whoever it may be. Mm-hmm. But now, even if we're not given a platform on TV, we can create our own platform on social media, and that's the beauty of it. You can now, and social media does allow that, and I think that is a huge difference when you look at the posts that go out. Anything beyond just, okay, this is the team, they won by this much. No, you get to know the players, their personalities, who they are, what they stand for, what they represent, and that's exactly it. So speaking of social media, where can our listeners follow you on your social media to keep up with all that you're doing?
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's MorganJones_NJ. That's the same on Twitter and Facebook. So that is where I'm at. I'm mostly on Instagram. I dabble a little bit in Twitter, but my home is probably Instagram.
Awesome. And you've been featured on ESPN. You founded your own organization. What's really next for you and for Athletes for Visionaries to take that next step to reach even more female athletes?
Yeah, so our next step, again, is partnering with the right people to continue to expand and reach more lives. That's the bottom line of it. Exactly how it's done and where it's done, all that is in negotiation and working on that right now. But, there's most definitely a need for this, and we're real intentional about connecting women with young girls so that they can see something potentially in themselves that they weren't able to see before. And, we've tested it, and it's been proven that, drastic change can happen when a young girl's vision is ignited. So we're really looking forward to just expanding and getting in front of more young girls and not battling the social media game. We're not going to battle for everyone's attention on social media. We're going to come straight to you and touch you personally and touch your heart. So we're excited about that.
Nice. Now, for that young girl that's playing pickup basketball and better than all the boys in her neighborhood and girls in her neighborhood, but is maybe dealing with something, or whoever, that young athlete that wants to be the next Elena Delle Donne or Asia Wilson or whoever else that they're looking up to, or even the next LeBron James as a female, what would you tell them as someone that's gone through the grind and is now working on the other side of it to give back? What's that message you'd give them to keep going?
Number one, in terms of your game, no matter what sport you play, don't put obstacles in your own way. Get a ball, go outside and get better. Don't fall into the trap of you need a trainer, you need a strength trainer, you need all these resources that cost money to get better at your sport. You don't. Number two, I would say, set goals for yourself. I think goals are like the number one most undervalued thing that, people do or don't do. And it's something that will stick with you for your entire life. So from wherever age you are now all the way until, you go into the grave, you should always be setting goals and attainable goals so that you continue to grow as a person. And I would say number three is just, stay true to who you are. Don't follow the crowd. When you follow in the crowd, you're doing the wrong thing. Stand in who you are.
I love those